of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.
Yes, people, big up. How are we doing? Happy Monday. Damn, it's been a Monday for me. Has it been a Monday for you? Wowzers. But anyway, how are we doing? Welcome in. Episode 134 here of the United Spurs series. The Untitled series. United Spurs of America. Immaculate series. Whatever you want to call it. All's gravy. But anywho, how's everybody starting out their week? God, it's been a long day. But you know what? All's well, ends well. Tottenham Hotspur, of course, went to the Old Trafford. And we grabbed ourselves a point, and then we scurried on home. Talk to me nicely. I know it wasn't a win. If you were here for the watch along, you probably saw me not the most excited necessarily, not the most thrilled with our performance as well. But look, there were some things that, upon reflection, I like to look at and discuss and think, was I a little bit wrong here? Was my initial reaction to this fair? And I like to do that for every game that we have. I'll go back and I'll watch either the full 90 or Tottenham Hotspur usually release extended highlights, so to speak. And I like to go back and, really see, was I right initially and how harsh I was for some players? Was I wrong? Did I miss some things? So obviously we'll talk about it. I have some ANGE POSTECOGLOU quotes. Some things that he's been saying, but off the top, I do have to acknowledge the fact that we've set a new club record. We've now scored at least one goal in 33 consecutive Premier League matches, beating our previous record set in 1949 and 1962. That's pretty immaculate if you ask me, so why not start there? And you know what? Tottenham Hotspur posting a photo with Harry Kane in it? I don't think we've done that since he left. I don't know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong here. But look, this was from Tottenham. Oh, wrong button. This was from Tottenham officially. I'll make it. I'll enlarge this so you can see it. Dates back to Nottingham Forest, March 11th. And since then, we just have not stopped scoring. So there's Harry Kane, Lucas Moura. Maybe they paired them together on purpose. I'm not sure. But there they are. And this is us now. James Madison, Papa Matasar keeping it. And Kulusevski with the LeBron James and the proo-proo. Now, something else I wanted to say off the top that I am really, when the world affords you funny little chances and opportunities, I like to acknowledge them and appreciate them. And one of them being Richarlison doing the pigeon dance at Old Trafford. Honestly, hats off to Richarlison. He has outscored officially Buhu Saka, which is what I'm told a star boy for Arsenal. He has outscored 3 Brazilians. If you add the 3 Brazilians in Arsenal squad, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Gabriel Magalhaes, I don't know how you say his name. But you take both Gabriels, and they're all 3 Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Gabriel Magalhaes. Well, you take all 3 Gabriels, add them up, and they have less GA than Richarlison this season. So off the top, I think we do got to pay a little respects to Richarlison, a player whom a lot of people have rightly so been critical of. Honestly, I think he's been doing all right lately, Let me put that earbud up. Chewy's here. Chewy. Well, he's sleeping and he's deaf, so there you go. You see him? There's the proof. Here, I'll put the name away. I think I put the name away before, and that kind of helps, so helped you to see Chewy anyway while I'm rambling. But look, y'all. Setting a new club record. That's something to be proud of. Long may it continue. I wonder if we can break the all-time record for the most consecutive. So, Interesting to see. But look, y'all, let me say hello to the chat before we keep going. I see a few comments rolling in here. Let me make sure I say hello. Big up Hype Noise with the first place prize today. Says, good morning, all. Hit the like button after you have voted. Come on, you Spurs. Big up Hype Noise. How you doing? Double first place prize for you, my friend. First YouTube chat and YouTube chat member in the house. Donovan's here, says, turbo time. None of you frauds can tell me Werner won't come good. Hold that. Hold that indeed, Donovan. Werner, more GA in 80 minutes than $100 million signing Anthony in over 900 minutes. So that's another fun little... You know what I like about these matches? Like, after these kinds of matches, fun little factoids start kind of getting sprinkled here and there, and that's always kind of nice. But big up Drula in the house, always supporting the channel. Big up Drula, family of Queen Ellie, some royalty there. So big up Drula. So good evening, Jacob, Chewy, and chat. How you doing, Spurs? GCTV, nonstop members in the chat. I like to see that. Y'all are all checking in. I think I'm going to put up a poll tomorrow and see what day of the week, like the week or the weekend, is better to do a members show. I'm kind of thinking since we have like 11 days till we get to play, till we play again, which I think is City and the Cub, if I'm not mistaken. It's about 11 days. Maybe we should sprinkle a members show in there. I don't know. But members, let me know. I'm going to post that on the community page, and we'll run a little poll and see what y'all think. Giuseppe Alberto is here, says, big up, Jacob. Are you watching the NFL playoffs? I did watch some yesterday, and then I turned it off because the Dallas Cowboys were getting absolutely gobsmacked. So didn't need to witness that. Good thing I'm emotionally checked out from all that stuff. Talking Beer says big up Talking Beer every single time. How you doing? Rich is in the house. Says big ups. Big up, Rich. How you doing? Elvis G. Good evening, Jacob in the chat. Good evening to you, Elvis G. Yanis Rubles is here. Big up, Yanis Rubles. Staffy TV's giving us 3 thumbs down. Well, hey, Staffy was on this very platform telling me Kobe Mainu would be the best midfielder on the day. I guess we'll never know if that was factual or not. I think the numbers would speak for themselves in this regard. Kobe Mainu was actually statistically rated the worst midfielder on the pitch that day. And I was told by the Manchester United reps, not naming any names, not saying that they're right here on the screen, but they said Kobe Mainu will be the best midfielder on the pitch tomorrow. And I said on the bet, I asked directly both of them, are you saying that he's going to be better than Bentancur if Kulusevski plays? I didn't throw Skip and Højbjerg out there because I left that part open. I said, you know what? Let's find out if he could be better than Højbjerg, if he could be better than Skip. But that's likely. The way he was hyped, the games that I had seen of Kobe Mainu, he absolutely was flourishing, much like how Papa Matasar was for us in a sense. So I left that open, right? I said, you know, let's see what Kobe Mainu could do. Patrick Tyron and I, we were on the channel and we said, okay, we're going to watch him very closely and observed and not just with our eyes, but with the stats as well, suggest Kobe Mainu is in fact the worst rated midfielder on the day. If you look there, Oliver Skip with a 7.1, Bentancur, some people said man of the match. Sky Sports said that. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, even with the 6.6, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg still clocks in at a higher rating than Kobe Mainu. And that's just based off of SofaScore's numbers. There's a few other statistical sites that are out there. I personally like SofaScore, so because they do a lot of live updating and stuff. And then they'll revise and edit once they like go back through the film. So I kind of like them a little bit. But look, not the best midfielder on the day. Not better than Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who I call a decaf Declan. Not better than Oliver Skip. Oliver Skip is a guy that a lot of us are pushing out the door. And he was talking to us nicely on the day. I would say probably Oliver Skip's best performance this season, 100%. Probably the best I've seen Oliver Skip play since he was at the San Siro with Papa Matasar. Him and Papa Matasar on that day, I remember, were both pretty good for being at a very large venue. But you know what? I get told a lot of things. Tottenham Hotspur fans, we are told a lot of things. What are they telling me now? What are they telling me now? What are they telling me now? Big up Spurs. GCTV says, question, is it true that smashing a like button improves your luck? It not only improves your luck, it improves Tottenham Hotspur's luck and my luck. And the channels, that's 4. And Chewy, that's 5. There you go, Spurs GCTV. Thank you for reminding everyone to hit that like. Do participate in the poll. Says, how do you think the match went yesterday? That's the question. 45 votes, 60% checking in saying Spurs should have won it. Ooh, that's how I felt immediately after the match. If you were here for the watch along, I was not in the best mood. I felt really disappointed. You know, if Kuti gets that header, we're having a whole different conversation yesterday and today. It's an entirely different conversation. But then you could say the same thing about Scott McTominay's header there. I think it was one of the last kicks of the game. Well, it wasn't really a kick. It was more with his face. But look, it was off target. We got a nice little video of Vicario hanging on the goal. That was kind of fun. So, you know what? Point away from home at a Big Six opponent. Someone who finished above us last season. Someone whose manager has been managing in the Premier League longer than our manager. Someone who's had more time and investment into his squad. Getting bossed in his home. Over 60% possession for us at Old Trafford versus a guy who's in his second season. Just won a trophy, just got top 4. That's what we're talking about. Getting a point. If I said that to Spurs fans in the summer, what would you say to me now? Would you be talking to me nicely? I think you would, because I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't have thought this. I predicted Manchester United to be a lot better than they were now. Now, I know throughout the entirety of this 20 matches leading up to this, Manchester United were showing signs. The writings was on the wall there. Shout out Staffy. He is one of the Manchester United fans who does call it how he sees it. Look, we all are seeing it. Everyone's seeing it. Ten Hag's a fraud. We can tell you that right now. I know a lot of Manchester United fans agree with that. I think he's in out over his head. The pressure at Manchester United is a different kind of pressure, I should say. I've talked about it frequently everywhere I am. Really, truly, honestly. Bros, how much money has Ten Hag spent? We are what? 85, 90 million, 7 months. Ten Hag, 18 months. 400 million, almost 400 million, I think is what it is. Man, you got to be getting points. You got to be getting all 3 points at home when especially it's only Tottenham. That's what they said to me. It's just it's only Tottenham, lads. That's what they say. I don't think they were saying that yesterday, but we'll move on. Let me say a big up to a few more people in the chat. Big up Rowan Kumar. I see Roy's in the house. Big up Roy. Ravi. Justin Glazer's here. Big up Jacob tuning in from San Diego. Big up all the way to San Diego. I should say good afternoon to those of you in the States. Good evening to those of you in the UK. And good morning to those of you on the Southern Hemisphere on the other side of the world in Australia, down under, or in the Asia area. I know there are some people, and then also there are people who tune in from Africa all over the world. Look, wherever you are, I hope you're too blessed to be stressed right now. I know I did go on a little bit of a ramble there. But I just get told so many things. You know, I go on all these channels. I listen. I keep my ears to the ground, so to speak. And what does the ground tell me? A lot of disrespect when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur. But you know what? Let them do what they want to do, is what I say. YouTube alerts on Discord are pissing me off, trying to get that working and stopped at some point. What's going on with YouTube? What's going on with that Discord? Don't worry about it, man. Don't sweat it. Either way. Big up Elvis G in the house. I think I already said hello to Elvis G. Liam Hardy, James Paratrooper, Nick Brown. Hi, Jacob. Irish Hotspur raid. Hey, big up. We got a raid from the Irish Hotspur. Very nice. I didn't see that. But hey, I was watching that fan show over there. Dave does such a fantastic job. Again, the Irish Hotspur, sorry, I was just refreshing my page here to see if I saw that raid. But look, shout out the Irish Hotspur, shout out Dave every single time. That's my brethren. Rich says, I'll come on a member show if that suits you. I hope you will. That's the whole idea here. And now there are people that give tons of memberships. So sometimes people aren't members for more than 1 month. So I am at least trying to do one membership show a month, so that way we can get those of you who get gifted a membership. Maybe it gets you to keep coming on back through when you come talk to Jacob, and hopefully talking nicely. Big up Jacob, he's Spurs through and through. Big up Muhammad Sharik Abbas, how are you doing? Rain Man in the house as well. I see Becky's here. Big up Becky. Big up Ren. Big up Jacob and crew. Should have bloody got the win. We should have bloody got the win, Ren. You're absolutely spot on. We should have. Oh, if Kuti had got... Oh, I don't know. Those of you who are here for the watch along. I haven't gone back and watched it because I'm actually a little bit embarrassed because I feel like I was getting too into it. And I try to not get too into it live on air. So I actually haven't gone back and watched it. But I know like I was losing my shit in the first half because Timo Werner was very much frustrating me. But in the second half, I thought he was much improved. Got the assist. Talked to me nicely. Talked to Timo nicely as well. But we should have got the win. That Christian Romero header. Oh, if that would have gone in. Look, we looked like a squad that's missing its most lethal striker, but nonetheless, Richarlison did get a goal. It was a well taken header, I should say, and then Bentancur getting with his left foot. That's his weak foot, if I'm not mistaken. I think Bentancur is right-footed. Someone correct me. Is he right or left-footed? But he hit that with his left. That's what I do know. Big up Rowan Kumar grabbing that membership. Welcome back to the Lover's Lane, I should say, because you've been a member before. You might have been gifted, but either way, big up. Thank you for grabbing that membership. Big ups. I do appreciate that, my friend. But oh my goodness, that header. Oh, the kuti header. Oh, it would have been something special. It would have been, what's the best way to say this? If he would have hit that,
you must have had a great view of that.
Wow, unbelievable from the back. Yeah.
Unbelievable from the back. It definitely would have been. Oh my goodness. Big up Eltel Tocarel in the house. I see a P. I see Jay Murray. How you doing, Jay Murray? Hey, y'all, Sunday was beautiful. Skip did really well, and the Cowboys lost. It was a perfect... Well, I take it you're not a Cowboys fan, so did not enjoy that. Had a lot of people hitting me up. People are mad at me. I ain't worked for the Cowboys in about 7 years. I think it's been 7 years. I resigned from my post in 2018, the summer of 2018. So 6 years since I've worked. And people are texting me pissed off that the Cowboys lost. I'm like, bro, I have nothing. Like, all those frauds you used to work with let us down. Bro, I had nothing to do with it. Don't come talking to me. I barely even watched the match or the game. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to talk about NFL, but honestly, people are blaming me. But some of my friends are like, it's because you left. It's because you let them hire this fraud and all this shit, man. Hey, I had no control of that. I was just a video guy. But we move. Tenag is a fraud, indeed. Big up LFC for the Aaron. Disintegration, Udogi's header. We were lucky that didn't go in. You know, if I could encapsulate how I felt in that moment when it did not go
Destiny
in.
Adoji. Oh, yes. Oh, Destiny Adoji Day. Hey. Idiots, man.
I would have had to eat shit if he had scored an own goal. Oh, I'm so thankful he didn't score an own goal. My goodness. I'm so thankful. Hey, shout out the post. The goal post has saved us a few games. This isn't the first time. I think Bournemouth, we hit both of the posts. It went boom, boom, and went out, which I can't even remember any time I've seen that. Maybe in like the minor leagues that I used to play, like the select leagues and shit. I've never seen that. And apparently, honestly, if it hits both posts, I've always seen it go in. I've always seen it hit one post and go in or out. Never the double post and then in, or double post and out. That's crazy. Big up Chang, longtime supporter of the channel. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all the viewers from all over America and the world, and the general tuning in for the post-match vibes of staying unbeaten in 2024 for now. Come on, you Spurs. Subscribe and like, everyone. Big up Chang. You can find more of Chang at Talkin' Ball, and hopefully, you know, we play our cards right. Chang will be here for the members show, because even if he's not a member, he gifts enough memberships that where Chang, you can just... Whenever you are free, my friend, you are welcome on the show. You are that big of a supporter. So big up Chang all the way from across the other side of the world, always supporting the show, supporting me, my family, etc. I got a lot of really cool mementos and things that I ain't going to show per our agreement. But Chang be sending me lots of gifts. Big up Chang every single time. I see a Minchi in the house. Big up Minchi. How you doing? Spurs. I always see you on Weird Tottenham TV. That's where it is. I'm like, where have I seen it? Irish Hotspur. It's Weird Tottenham TV. Big up Minchi. Hope you're doing well. I see gifted 5 memberships from Chang again. Big up Chang, making the party just that much bigger. Big up Talking Beer, gifted a membership. The moderator Talking Beer gifted a membership. Dave O, Jazz Fusion, Spurs King, and Maraving in 1980. How you doing? Talking to United Spurs of America nicely, Chang. And so are the 5 of you. Dubs in the chat right now for Chang, gifting those 5 memberships. Big up. That's what I'm saying. You never know. There could be 50 people watching, 100 people, 200 people, and you never know. You might get gifted a membership because Chang is just that. He's like our little Santa Claus here. So big up Chang every single time, first and foremost. Always appreciate the support, my friend. You are literally keeping the lights on, so thank you. I do appreciate that. Snowing over here in Ireland, Jakub. Crazy. It was actually like 15 degrees in my where I used to live. 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's like -9, I think, Celsius. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me. Rainman says Binta is 2-footed. That might be true. I thought he was right-footed, though, because I'd never seen him really take a shot with his left, at least whenever he was healthy. But you know what? He said, fuck it. This knee good to go, baby. Let me get my goal. Still celebrating Destiny Udogi. Hey, every single day. You already know what the vibes are. Big up Nate. Nate Pie. Big up Nate every single time, my guy. Another brethren of the channel. Big up Nate from Down Under. Good morning, I should say, probably. Because y'all, this is, I think 3 o'clock is like the morning time for y'all. So, what's Arteta doing in Dubai? Asks Mike. Exclusive footage. That's what he's doing, Mike. Opening wide. It's a shame to see. Pops was angry. He's from Fort Worth, but he doesn't blame you, Jacob. It's all good in our neighborhood. Big up Jay Murray and Senor Murray from Fort Worth, my old stomping grounds. My brother used to live in Fort Worth. I lived in Arlington, right there in between Fort Worth and Dallas. That's where I went to high school and grew up most of my life. So, big up. Do we have a surprise? Oh, we do have a surprise. I didn't even see this on my WhatsApp. We've got a surprise, everyone. Just hang on in there. I've got a special guest. Well, actually, he's in the chat, so it's not that much of a surprise. You're gonna get to see something special, though. Love to get to chat with my buddy. Ain't nobody want to see my face. Talking beer, I want to see your face. How about that? How about that? Talking beer is now a member. Now we'll see him. Come on down. Bro, what? The Salt Bay thing is crazy, right? Could y'all imagine Ange Postecoglou ever doing that? I couldn't. Yeah, it was very sensual. The rub on the arm, or the hand, he was like kind of snuggling it, like so nice. What a disgrace.
It's embarrassing. It's a disgrace.
Jacob, thoughts on how Spurs tried to win the game? I'm going to keep this here for when my guest joins me, because guess what? We've got a guest that's going to join us for a little while. And ain't that nice? That's always lovely. David Calvino, how you doing? Big up, everyone, and Jacob. Big up, David Calvino. Ainge strikes me as a chips and pint kind of guy. But would he allow any other grown man to hand feed him chips? Homemade chips? Would he allow somebody to pour his pint into his mouth? That just seems weird to me. But hey, to each their own. I just see it from a standpoint of banter, as it's funny. It's absolute. It is a meme. Their manager's a walking meme. It's so funny. Big up Kim A.D. Helgeson. I believe you told me you were from Saskatchewan country. Is that right? Is it? I don't know. Hey, Jordan, how you doing? Big up, Jordan. A guest? Is it Taylor Swift? She's on everything. No, her private plane that pollutes more than 500 families could in, I think it was 500 years. Even though she has that private jet that pollutes more than 500 families in 500 years, no, she has not flown to El Paso to come talk to me. I'll tell you that much. Disintegration, hand feed him hand feed him grapes though, like a boss. But see, I think he would have his wife do that. Like, I don't think he would let somebody else feed him grapes like that. He seems like a loyal guy. He would allow, I don't think he would allow somebody to feed him unless it's his wife. Well, he would absolutely smash a Ito. I would smash a Ito right now. And in fact, I'm going to text my wife right now and say, can we order Itos tonight? Because now that sounds really good. I want Itos is what I'm texting her. She's probably going to say no, but we'll move. Literally only forgot seeing Arteta eating it. Bro, you forgot, but I'm here to remind you, and I'm glad I could remember where Kim is from. At least your name. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all tell me where you're from. I usually will try to remember. And if you keep your name and your photo the same, because I just remember this name being from, not from Norway specifically, but up there in that region somewhere. So big up, how you doing? Look, let me get to some of the stuff that I want to talk to y'all about before we really get into the nitty gritty and I get to ask my guests some questions. But there's a few messages from ANGE POSTECOGLOU I found quite interesting to me. So if you will indulge me a moment. ANGE POSTECOGLOU on his players says, quote, "These guys are giving me everything. Whoever is out there, whether it's guys playing out of position, guys who haven't played in a while, guys coming back from injury, they just give everything. It's not always smooth, but there's no manager on this planet who wouldn't feel like they're in the right place when they see the kind of effort these guys are putting in every week." When I see this quote, and I like to talk about things that stand out to me, I like that he brought up this part right here. There's no manager on this planet who wouldn't feel like they're in the right place. So he feels clearly like he's in the right place based on the players that he hasn't even brought in all of his players. He's been cleaning out the deadwood, getting rid of some, bringing some in supplementally. You know what? I'm interested to see in the summer who Ainge says, I want to keep this guy. Because it's the likes of Emerson Royale and Ben Davies I question. I've been really harsh. I've wanted Ben Davies gone for a long time. And I think he should still go regardless of his versatility. But it's guys like Emerson Royale. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe ANGE POSTECOGLOU can get a tune out of him. But while we're getting tunes out of things, I've got such a lovely tune to bring to you right now. I've got Dave from the Irish Hotspur. Big up, my buddy. How you doing?
No, good evening, Jake. Long overdue, my man. Me coming on here. You have asked, just, you know what it is? It's the difficult with times, where your afternoon is my evening and stuff like that. But look, first of all, good evening to you and the people in your chat, the United Spurs of America fanboys and girls. Big yourselves up and good evening.
I was just talking about ANGE POSTECOGLOU, and there's a few things that he said after the match, and before I talk to you about the match and kind of your thoughts and what you liked, what you didn't like, I want to, all right, let me share this so you can see it too. I'm a visual guy, so seeing it kind of helps me. He brings up the fact of these guys that are here willing to do whatever it takes. There's other quotes coming out of Bentancur saying, I don't care, this is my body, you got to let me play and help the team. And then boom, he's starting. James Maddison now, he potentially could be back for City, but it looks like he's for sure going to be back for Brentford at least. So there's this, and Romero, same thing. Now, I was listening to your fan show earlier, and I think you were on with Dermot at the time when you spoke about Christian Romero, and you said that, trust me, hey, when Christian Romero is spoken about, it's like something tells me, and I go to that channel, and I'm like, what are they saying about Kuti? And you brought up a point that he rushed back quickly from injury too. Now, whether it is this ethos that Ainge is kind of building, this mindset that these players have, or it's the Jurgusen coming in and maybe he wants to say, hey, I'm still here, which I think he did do that yesterday. He had a couple mistakes. I was getting bantered for the 2 goals. They were saying it was my GOAT's fault. What do you think? Hang on. I was about to ask about the game. Let me backtrack a second. Before I ask you about the game, what are your thoughts on this player mentality? Are you buying into it? Do you think that it's a real thing that Ainge is speaking about here? Or do the likes of Royale, Davies, etc., they still just have to go regardless of their mindset?
Look, Emerson Royale actually breed as a sort of new mindset in the club. Likes of Davies. Look, I get it, right? He's Tottenham. He ain't going to get 85 grand a week anywhere else. So he's going to be a Scott. He's going to have the right attitude, right professionalism. Does it make him good enough for where we need to go going forward? No, I still don't think it does. But look, with this attitude, Jacob, I've been alluding to it for quite some time with Paratici, the signings he's made. You know, that they're all young, hungry. They want to go on experienced team. You look at the guys that we've signed from Juve, for example, Bentancur and Kulusevski. They have a point to prove to get back to big clubs like that, Champions League. You know, they have a point to prove that Juventus got it wrong. You look at like Romero, Porro, people like that we picked up, Van Ven, Doji. They're all from clubs that are ready. They were ready to take that next step. And what we're sort of building is something like we had on the Pochettino, where you've got a load of guys who want to achieve, who want to go on to bigger and better things, you know, and have the time to gel and grow together to do that. You look at when Paratici came in here, he purposely lowered the average age of this Tottenham squad. Before he came in here, was staying and rotten with a lot of old guys coming to their end, been here quite some time, never fulfilled their promise or whatever it may be. Paratici started that before Ange Postecoglou even got here, you know, changing the mindset, the mentality of the club, you know. But with Postecoglou, what he has done, he's been able to come out, because even last year under Conte, because a lot of the older guys had the core running of the dressing room, they controlled everything going in and around Tottenham. The new guys that were brought in weren't really able to stamp their authority or come out of their shell and bring that towards Tottenham Hotspur. Whereas now that Postecoglou has come in, specifically targeted the leadership group, Hugo Lloris, bang, gone. Eric Dyer, bang, gone. And every time he's asked about Dyer, he just sort of brushed it off, you know. Ben Davies, with the signings were made, he's been put further and further and further back in the pecking order. Højbjerg looks like he's on his way out. All guys that were part of that leadership group last year. And what it allows the likes of Romero's personality and mentality to feed through. Van de Ven's, Bentancur, people like that, Jacob.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to add, not only is that leadership dismantled and gone, it feels like, you know, when you've been standing for a long time, you get like a knot in your back and you got to just massage it out. And sometimes you get them knots and you can't quite get there. And those knots for me were the three people who went live with, or not live, they were on video with Dave Portnoy making fun of Tottenham, laughing at our expense, laughing that we don't win anything, disrespecting the club, the crest, and Harry Kane was a part of that. Now I can forgive him because he's scored over 200 damn goals for us. So like, what am I gonna? I don't know that he was there when Dyer necessarily laughed about the trophy thing, but these mindset of these players that are okay with not winning, that laugh at the fact that we don't win, those guys are getting phased out slowly. Now, my next question before I do get into the game, because I know I only have a little bit of time with you, but I want to ask you about
just quickly. Can I add one more thing to my point? I think where Ange Postecoglou has come in and really managed to take it to the next level is players that maybe haven't been good enough or have been of that sort of old mindset. The ones that maybe didn't have as much of a say in what was going on at Tottenham. He's managed to actually get them on board and get them to produce what he's asking them to do, which is the biggest difference between what Conte was able to do. And I think that's where Ange really took it on to that next level.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to ask you about a guy in particular that I know you've been very tough on throughout the years, because we're in the same agreement here. Ben Davies, he's been here a few years too long. Do you see him as a utility man going forward, given the versatility? I put air quotes on that because I don't see him good enough for the left back position where what we're trying to do with Udogie. I think Ainge tried him once in there and saw that was the case, and so he hasn't let him see that position since. As a fourth, fifth option center back, do you think he's fine to keep around, or does that still keep the thing that we've been so upset about over the years of keeping these players that aren't good enough, but we're saying, man, maybe we'll get something out of them?
Me personally, I think Postecoglou, he'll keep him this season. I think he's gone in the summer. The problem we've got with Ben Davies is the wages he's on and the age he's at. He's what, 31, 32 now on 85 grand a week. Name me a club that's going to come in with a fee and be able to offer him anywhere near that. The level of the club that his ability possesses, right? Which is the Reddit team scrapping for relegation, lower half of the Premier League, something like that, maybe Championship, a bit like what Harry Winks was. Name me a club that's going to have that sort of money, especially now with the financial trouble that a lot of clubs are in, that are going to be able to offer him anywhere near his wages to get him to agree to go there. We don't. Man made that problem with Davies herself, like we did with Dyer. Astronomical wages for a little contribution to the football club. So with Davies, I think he's just here again to run down his contract. I think he's got, 1.5 years left on it now, I believe. So he's here for me to run down his contract. One thing I think people easily overlook when it comes to Ben Davies, people forget he got Nuno sacked. He went to Daniel Levy and got Nuno sacked. He didn't like him because Nuno had him as a part of the B team at the time, and he did not like that. And I think that gets very easily overlooked when it comes to Ben Davies. And for me, Postecoglou will be well aware of it. But when he walks in here, he has to sort of identify the problems very, very early. Who's the biggest problems and get them out. So Ben Davies will be weaned out further down the line. I've no doubts about that. You can't keep a player there because people say, oh, but, he's one of them. He's grand behind the scenes. Even if he's not playing, he's happy. Okay, if he is, then why did he get Nuno sacked? Why did he actively go to Daniel Levy? And anyone that thinks I'm talking shit, type it in on Google. It will come straight up what Ben Davies done to Nuno Espirito Santo. Whether he's the right man for the job or not, who are someone like him to decide with the level of performances he puts in? If it was a Harry Kane or a Son or someone like that, I'd say, okay, fair enough. Someone like him, nah, I'm not having it. He's got to go.
Yeah. A lot of good points there, Dave. But while I have you, I do want to check in. First question, what are the vibes like for Dave, the Irish Hotspur, the day after we go to Old Trafford, grab a point, I caveat that by saying, remember where we were this summer. Think about where United were this summer. If I said to you, we're getting 4 points from both United fixtures, that sounds kind of nice to me. But in retrospect, after the match, I was pretty upset and I felt disappointed because I felt like we could have won that and we should have dominated ball possession, dominated the midfield. I didn't think we would, but we look great with supplemental pieces. What's the vibe like for Dave today, the day after all this fun?
Do you know what, Jacob? I'm disappointed, but I'm sort of guilty of changing my expectations as the season has gone on. But I think that's only natural with how well Ange has done and how well the team have produced, even with all the injuries and suspensions. But because I'd probably changed my expectations before what they were coming into the season, I'm a bit disappointed with the result. And there's a number of reasons why. However, I think you make a great point, where we were at the end of last season. What were my expectations coming into this season and stuff like that? And on that, I'm okay with getting out with the point, especially with some of the shit that we've seen. However, I do think the stats don't tell the whole picture. I think they sort of make us look a bit better than what we did. Yeah, we had 60-odd% possession, but you also look at the amount of sloppy possession that we gave away in crucial moments on, trying to hit United on the attack and stuff like that. Nowhere near good enough. And look, I get it, but the thing is, I've seen better from Højbjerg. I've seen better from Skip, so their level of performances, I think, really needs to be upped. And I also think
yesterday Skip was one of. I want to ask you about the midfield more. I agree with Højbjerg. I've seen Højbjerg be better than what he was yesterday, but he was fine. It was just when you give Højbjerg the ball and he's like, let me look this way, we kind of know what we're going to get from Højbjerg in that sense. I thought Oliver Skip, though, this was the best I've seen since the San Siro last year in the Champions League. I'm not saying that this has changed my mind on Oliver Skip, but I did want to acknowledge the fact that I thought he was our best presser on the day. When we were off the ball, Skip was usually higher up the pitch than Richarlison, pressing the keeper, pressing their back line. And, for all his shortcomings as a player, I just want to acknowledge the fact that this kid did a role. I mean, he was our most advanced midfielder in the first half. And I thought that I would never want Skip up there doing that. But I think from a standpoint, Postecoglou was okay with losing that creative aspect in a number 10 and more having that that constant pressure in your face. And I thought that he did that well. But I want to get your thoughts more on Oliver Skip.
Do you know, I hear what you're saying, and the points you make are correct. It was obvious there for everyone to see Ollie Skip. And look, for me, I do think he grew into the game. I thought for the first 30 minutes, I actually thought he was fairly anonymous. But he did sort of grow into the game from that minute onwards all the way throughout the rest of the game. But I think we're guilty of comparing him to Ollie Skip's standards, and that's not the level we should be holding him to. We should be holding him to the level of the people that hold the position ahead of him, because ultimately that's the level we need to get him to. That's the performance levels that we need him to reach. You look at Man City, they take out one player to bring in the next player. There's no drop-off because they can reach that level, you know, and Liverpool are the same more or less at times as well. You know, I know lately they you know, it's a little bit different compared to what it was. But when Klopp had that squad, the Liverpool squad that were winning Premier Leagues, that bet us in the Champions League final, it was like that. He took one player out, bought the next one in, and they could do exactly what the player they took out. If we really want to go on and win things, that's the level he has to reach. And I'm sorry, I went early on this last year and I got a lot of pelters because it was unpopular at the time. But he does not have the all-round game to reach the level that we need him to reach. I think when he goes and press, good, but there's often a lot of times he's also way too late. He's not quick enough. I don't think he's mobile enough to play in Postecoglou's midfield. You look at Bentancur, Sarr, Basuma. The reason why they're so effective in the midfield is because the mobility and the engine that they have as a player. Skip just does not have that, and that's unfortunate. But with a midfielder, you have to have that mobility. You have to get around. It's that simple. That's why Højbjerg now looks like he can't play his system, purely because it doesn't suit him in terms of the mobility that's needed in midfield. And I think Skip is the same. Don't get me wrong. Skip is a Tottenham guy. You know, I want him to succeed. I absolutely love academy players coming through into the senior team and succeeding. It's an absolute fairy tale. It's easy. You know, Skip right now is living out my dream, your dream, and everyone else's dream in the chat. However, we've done this with Harry Winks, and look how long he lasted. Look how far our midfield fell off from the Dembele and Wanyama, because there were so many excuses made for the guy. We fell off dramatically.
That's a good point.
And he was never good enough here. I was only 27 when we sold him onto the championship, and then everyone started laughing. Oh, yeah, sure, he's that level. We cannot do the same with Skip. It's different as well. We now have ambitions. We're a moving target on a way to try to achieve something, and he has to reach that level. Unfortunately, it's on the kid. Do you think though he has the ability to be able to get to a level of a Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison, people like that, Papa Sarr? Because the thing is, Spurs ain't going to wait around for him to get to that level. They're just going to keep signing. So it's now up to him. Do you think he can get there?
I used to. Now, when he was player of the year for Norwich, made team of the season for Norwich when they won the league, I, at that point, was like, bro, the sky's the limit for this kid, right? He was so great. And now he just keeps improving. And it just seemed like he got there and just stopped, and he's kind of plateaued. And that's what we've seen. And then every now and then it's like San Siro yesterday. And that's really that's really it for me. And I see it as like he's now 21, 22, something like that.
22
I
now,
think
23, isn't it?
Oh, if that's the case, it's even worse. It makes the point that I'm about to say even more accentuated, because I think that if he's not improving anymore from 19 to 20, 18 to 20, and now it's 22 to 23, and he's still at that same level, I think that's kind of where he is as a player. I think he'd be very great for a Nottingham Forest type that needs an engine in the midfield. I think he is I think he's good enough in the Premier League, just not good enough for what we're trying to do. So I love the kid. I want the best for the kid. I have no ill will to him. I don't think he's never done anything that's made me like, wow, you disrespected us. Now that's the reason. Like, he's just not good enough. And that's not, I don't put that all down to him, because at some point it is a little bit like, you got to get graced by the good gods to have that thing.
The injury didn't help him, though, did it? No, the long injury layoff that he had.
And then he had a hernia, right? It was a hernia.
It stunted his progress. It really did.
Yeah, it was right there in the middle of it. You are right.
But Jacob, you also made a point there, right? You look at Papa Sarr's performance out at the San Siro and all these skips. You would say for the two young midfielders going into there, right? They cope pretty well. Now there's debates. Half the fan base thought Skip was better on the other night. Other half, like me, thought Sarr was better on the night. But regardless of your opinion on that night, You look at the trajectory of both players since there. One's gone on to develop to get himself into the first team when he was further behind the pecking order, behind Ollie Skip. And the other one's regressed to now being sort of the last option in that midfield. And only Skip can change that.
Yeah. Big up Chang for the super chat, my friend. Big up. Another financial donation to the channel. Says props to both Dave and Jacob for the We Are Tottenham TV pre-match. Very glad that I was able to join that. Very glad that life was the timing of it. These Friday, Thursday games don't help when my wife's at work and we're playing in the middle of the workday. But big up Chang. Glad to see that you caught our little pre-match show there, because we were throwing a lot of ideas around before really the 11 came out of how are we going to set up. And honestly, Christian Romero as a captain on the side, I thought was absolutely instrumental. We needed a leader out there on the pitch. We needed a guy who I was reading this comment, I got a little distracted. It says, sorry, but I find saying championship level so lazy. Skips just had a good game against Man U. Is he better than Sarr? No, but don't disrespect him. I don't think it's disrespectful to say what I think about a player's attributes. I don't think with the ball, he's creative enough passing. I don't think with the ball, he's good enough dribbling. To be, Dave's question was, can he hit the level and the talent of what we've seen Bentancur do, which is, I think, the minimum of what we want, right? Where Bentancur has been is, for me, where the minimum is at that position that I need. Now, Bentancur can keep getting better, and I see that he's our most creative side in a very uncreative team. But for Skip, the question of can he get to that level, I don't see it on the ball. I don't see it passing. I don't see it in anything other than engine. So I don't think it's lazy to say he's championship level. I think it's I could be wrong. You could say my saying he's championship level that I'm wrong, and I would probably say, hey, you might be right, I might be right, and we'll find out one day. But he did just have a great game. But the last time I've seen this was at the San Siro. Again, another big-time performance at a big-time venue, but where is it at consistently? What about I can't even remember what match it was where he started, and he was running around fouling, giving the ball away in the first 25 minutes. It was like, bro, calm down. It's like that stuff over and over. He's just not good enough, in my opinion.
And also,
it's like, where's our goals? What are we trying to achieve in the future? Is he a piece off the bench even that can give us that? I don't think so.
Look, unless Skip drags his game, to another level completely, you're always going to have that problem with him where it's always going to be a drop-off when he comes in, and every manager is always going to have him as last choice because of that. Look, Rayman, look, when I say that, look, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I don't do it from a disrespectful sort of point of view.
He was also saying it's like a social media thing as well, that he's been seeing a lot of people saying that.
Look, I hear you, and I know some people will say it's lazy, but look, I got all this when it came to Harry Winks, because he was a homegrown boy and so many Spurs fans loved him. It was like, who's this Irish fat boy, pulling out Harry Winks? But I was right, when he left Tottenham, where did he end up? In the Championship, and that's one thing I've always said about him. And when I look at Ollie Skip, is he a better player than Harry Winks? I don't think so. I think Winks is better on the ball than Ollie Skip. And for me, that's where my analysis is coming from. I don't mean to throw it out there as a lazy comment whatsoever, and I don't mean it disrespectful. That's just my point of view on it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And that, I don't think Rayman was like meaning that directly at either of us or anything that we said. But I think I literally did say this show that he's championship level. But yeah, big up Rayman. Big up, again. You're allowed to say that I'm wrong. Like, there's no problem. And I know I'm never going to be right. Like, we are humans after all.
Look, but Dave, just Spurs fans an opinion at the end. None of us are pundits. None of us are professionals, so it's all good. It's all good to, disagree and agree with each other, as long as it's done in a nice way.
I love this comment from Yen. It says, if we're comparing Winks and Skip, then game's already over. I agree with that. Look, Dave, I want to ask you also about those two goals. Before I ask you, there's a couple other questions I want to ask you, but I want to ask you about the two goals specifically. Now, I've watched the highlights of both goals in extensive. I've probably watched them about 100 times each. And I've been told that it was Christian Romero, our captain's fault for both of those goals. How did you see those goals, and where do you think the blame should be given for both of them?
Look, Jacob, for me, it is worth knowing that both goals were tough to concede, right? However, I did say it on the pre-match build-up when we are Tottenham TV that there's a possibility that Romero and Van de Ven come back in after their long-term injury and they don't hit the heights where they were at in the previous 10 games when we went unbeaten, that it might take them a while to settle into the game. And United pinpointed that and they went straight at it and got their look within inside a couple of minutes. You know, they caught us cold. You know, ideally what we wanted was Romero and Van de Ven to have an easy 10, 15 minutes to build their way into the game. That didn't happen. They were put under the caution from minute one, and we got caught. Romero, goal by Højlund, it doesn't happen. First of all, it drives me mad seeing players with their arms behind the back. But sadly, that's where we're at with VAR and the rules, and it does affect your game. When you go to block a shot, you can't extend your body as much with your hands handcuffed behind your back as you can when you naturally block a ball and your arms move. So that affects it. But also, Romero, just the sharpness. If he was a bit sharper, that wouldn't have happened. He would have got the block on that. The other one, Rashford, where he's just allowed to run around the box, that one did drive me mad, to be honest. But again, I expected it. I seen it coming. You know, I knew it would take him a while to get up to speed. Once Romero and Van de Ven did, they didn't really cause us too much trouble after that at all. But United caught us cold. They caught us very, very quickly, and that was the game plan with Romero and Van de Ven coming back, and that's the risk you run. We got caught.
You know, I think it is. I agree with you that in the second half there was really nothing that, excuse me, Manchester United offered from an attacking standpoint. I thought that they kind of just decided to sit back and say, "All right, well, we're up 2-1. What are you going to do?" And we got our goal, and they said, "All right, well, it's 2-2 now. What are you going to do?" And then they made some attacking subs that I thought maybe could have changed the game. And, you know, to his credit, McTominay got on the end of a header. They created a chance to win that game there at the end. But they're not good enough. But Dave, I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Just quickly, and also add, Jacob, Papa Matasar was a huge miss. It took us a while to get to grips with not having him there. Papa Matasar, one thing he does do, especially if we're just analysing him tracking back, how many times do we see him back there helping out Pedro Porro down that right-hand side, helping out Romero? You know, you go back to the Fulham game, and there's other games where you see him putting in tackles, winning last-ditch headers, balls are coming in from the opposite side. Pedro Porro was exposed. He was left one-on-one with Rashford. And it's not Pedro Porro's fault entirely, because the way we're asked to play in possession, asked to get into a central position, which makes that right-hand side open up. Bentancur was the guy on that side, but he's the guy that crossed the ball that led to that counter where we got caught. So he wasn't there to protect them, whereas Papa Matasar has always been there to protect them. So the first goal in that regard came from sort of down that hand side, not Papa Matasar. Second goal, more or less, as well. So, you know, once we got to grips of not having Papa Matasar and we got proper cover to Porro, because Brendan Johnson wasn't tracking back, he didn't want to know. So, you know, once we got proper help with Porro, we managed to stem the effect that Rashford was having on the game as well.
Yeah. You know, I guess the most frustrating part for me too, just, you know, also in hindsight, looking back, the two players whom have been getting a lot of shtick and jokes from rivals and social media are the two motherfuckers that went and scored versus us. And it was like paging Dr. Tottenham. You know what I mean? I hate that. I hate that whole Dr. Tottenham will cure you. You need a goal. Well, who better than the play than Tottenham? And, you know, I bet Højlund and Rashford are going to think, okay, now I can build on this. And now I can go. And we are always doing that throughout. I hate the nomenclature for me personally. But look, we've talked about the back line. I want to talk about the fullbacks, because I think the fullbacks for United pocketed our wingers. And I thought our Destiny Udogie pocketed Garnacho, made him he was walking the dog basically for 90 minutes. That's what Destiny Udogie was doing. My goodness, what a lad. I love watching Destiny Udogie play against these wingers, because it don't matter who it is, they're getting locked down. I know Salah had that one assist that may have gotten ruled offside for some. I ain't here to talk about that, but I do want to say, you know, Pedro Porro had another fantastic match. Destiny Udogie pocketing yet another. And I think defensively, Destiny's been so much better than he was in the first 10 matches. He's been improving slowly but surely. Defensively, I want to get your thoughts on our fullbacks as well. What did you make of Pedro Porro's performance? Obviously getting the assist there for Richarlison's header, but what about what stands out from them for you?
Do you know what? I'm both fullbacks, Jacob. I don't know if many people here that are listening that watch my predicted lineup, but on Porro, I said we're going to need a massive day from him in terms of set piece deliveries. They were piss poor against Burnley, and if he can put in great deliveries, it gives us a good chance. His set piece deliveries were spot on all game long. Them corners, I have not seen a Tottenham player for some time put in the corners the way he did into dangerous areas consistently. We've had Lo Celso down the years, couldn't even lift it off the ground. We've had Ericsson, could never beat the first man from a corner kick. You know, he was absolutely sensational in terms of his delivery. I also said on Udogie, come up against Garnacho. He has everything that Garnacho will hate as a winger. He has pace, he has power, he has strength, physicality, touch-tight defending, loves a tackle. You do that to Garnacho, he hates it and he cannot handle it. That's what you've got to do with these wingers. Tricky wingers, you've got to get physical with them. They do not like that. That's the one aspect they do not like. What Garnacho does want is someone that drops off, gives him that half a yard where he will cause you problems. You've seen it right at the end of the game when he switched over to the left-hand side. We dropped off him. We allowed him to cross the ball. McTominay nearly got the winner. Udogie was absolutely sensational up against Garnacho. Udogie has all the qualities that no winger will like to come up against him. And you look at this season, no winger has got any joy out of him, any change out of him whatsoever. Because the best wingers in the league will hate coming up against him because he's got all the attributes to stop him. Everyone else after the best wingers in the league will just pass the ball off. They won't want to try and beat him. They won't look to run in behind him. It's a pointless exercise. We have the two best fullbacks in the without a doubt, without country mile, right and left, and everyone will know that come the end of the season. What do you think?
I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. Now, Pedro Porro, for me, I just think what a revelation because again, we are targeted on that our right hand side, their left. On the preview show that I did, I said, who do you want to have a good day? Whoever's on that left-hand side is going to have a good day. They're going to get they're either going to have a good day or a moderate day, but they're going to get chances because that's where we're most porous, and that channel right there. And of course, that's where they attacked. Romero was very rusty, I think, on the day, but I think he was rusty for 45 minutes, kind of like we were alluding to. And I think that Pedro Porro, his job is so difficult. He's got to be that support in midfield and really help us control the ball there when we have it. And then out of play, he's got to get back into shape and be on that side of Romero. Now, Romero, to me, on that first goal, definitely looked like it was a matter of just trying to mark a man and then missing him passing by, and they kind of bumped into each other and got the goal. At least I think that was the Rashford one, the second one. It just seemed like both of their goals were because we were lacking sharpness, and I think that is due to a little bit of the injury stuff. So, but real quick, the stream has just hit over an hour, so I want to say this is a good time to remind folks to please do hit that like on the video. It's absolutely free, costs nothing to support the channel in that manner. It also costs nothing to go to the description of this video, click on the Irish Hotspur, and hit a like and subscribe over there as well. I see 107 votes and 52 likes. So that's over 55 people who wanted to vote but didn't want to hit a like on the video. It's very interesting of you, but nonetheless, you can do as you please here on the channel. Dave, I want to ask you a final question about the match. And then there's obviously the FFP stuff that's been going on that's kind of looming around a couple other clubs. Now people are saying we can go and get homegrowns, this, that, and the other. Honestly, I don't like talking about spreadsheets, Excel sheets, and emails and all that stuff. But I'm going to read this out real quick, and then I'm going to get from you your man of the match as well, and who gets your BDE of the match. But There's an account on Twitter that said, missing Kulu, Son, Madison, Sarr, and Basuma still able to look comfortable away from home. I don't think Ainge has got the credit he deserves for the way that he's managed to keep the team ticking despite all the injuries, suspensions, and players away right now. It is the principle of play. And now I highlight this because there's another point that I wanted to bring up. Cody had a good point here. It says this, but also not to mention that we took one on the chin within the first 5 minutes and we didn't even flinch. We looked at that point like, okay, we're going to do something now about it, you know? A lot of talent missing today, a lot of players getting up to speed, and very much lacking options to change the match through the substitutions. We should have had the 3 points. But what did you make from Timo Werner? Obviously, for me, the first 45 minutes, I was about to pull my hair out because of the guy. But then the second half, I thought he was doing all the things that I was complaining about. I think Ainge had a little chat with him and said, try this more and do this. And then he ends up getting the assist. What do you make of Timo Werner and then also Brennan Johnson? He's come through a lot of flack, and I feel like it's something that has to be discussed. Brennan Johnson's been getting a lot of critique and critics, and then now a lot of people defending him. Big up Felipe coming in here saying, Jacob, you're a fraud. How you doing? Make sure you hit the like. Look, what's your thought on our wingers? Timo Werner, debut, 80 minutes, 1 assist. Brennan Johnson, 90 minutes, I think it was.
I'll start on Timo Werner, Jacob, and then I'll move into Brennan Johnson. Look, Timo Werner, it's his debut, right? He was thrown into the deep end. Hasn't had the luxury to really get up to speed with the tactics, what exactly is asked of him. I thought he'd done okay for a debut. Like you, Jacob, I thought there was times to use your speed, run at players, create havoc. And sometimes it felt like he took the easy option, passing it back inside, passing it backwards and stuff like that. However, if you're not going to score goals, come out with an assist. And that ball he played on for Bentancur, it's perfect way for Bentancur to take any stride. He doesn't have to break stride. So it's the perfect way to pass. Look, I think Timo Werner might get better. He'll cause problems, you know. Teams will constantly sort of keep an eye on him because of the pace that he possesses and the danger that he causes. And he alluded to himself sort of, you know, in his post-match press conference, right? What Ange wants from him is to stretch teams, use his pace to pull players out of position, create space for others. And I think he does that. My biggest problem is we need someone in here to be able to compete with Richarlison. You know, he's on a hot streak of form right now. And one thing I said about my thoughts about the Timo Werner deal when it first happened was, obviously from a financial standpoint, right, you've nothing to lose, you've everything to gain, which is brilliant for a transfer. However, from an ambition point of view on the pitch, I feel I sort of struggle to see where he was going to come in and sort of impact what we've got, because right now, what we do have is a lot of wasteful forwards, and that's been the case all season. So, you know, bar Sonny. You know, I'd argue, you know, we missed that clinical edge up right across the front tree. If you're not going to go in and out and striker and you know, someone like Harry Kane, you're going to go with 3 flexible forwards that are more mobile, then you all have to chip in with 15 goals. And sadly, they're just not doing that, you know, 15, 20 goals. They're just not doing that. But they also have to chip in with assists, and it's not happening. But with Timo Werner, I do think we take a hit ambition-wise, because I don't have the confidence that he's going to fire us, you know, he's going to add to anything that we're already doing, if you get what I mean. I don't think he's going to fire us to an FA Cup, for instance. For me, I do take your argument. You know, it's hard to find that sort of person in January. Clubs won't want to part with their star man. You know, they know how valuable strikers are now midway through a season. But ambition-wise, I'm quite sure. And my biggest problem was his finishing. And that was on display against Man United. The first shot ended up in Coronation Street, you know, in the middle of Trafford Centre, the shopping centre. And the second shot was off target, even though he's had so much time to compose himself, steady himself, and decide what shot he wants to take. And that's exactly what we've seen of him at Chelsea since he's returned to Leipzig. So for me, he really needs, if he doesn't score at least 10 goals, I wouldn't take up the option to buy him.
What about, well, I agree on that. I would say he would need to, I mean, in 18 matches, I would say give me like 12 GA, and then I would consider it, but I still think our options are better exploring elsewhere. But I think for the 6 month, the short term, while Son's gone, is kind of where I see him getting the most playing time. When Son's back, I would assume Richarlison goes back to the middle, or stays in the middle rather, and then Son goes on that left wing. And then at that point, it would be down to ANGE POSTECOGLOU. Do we move Son central and Timo out wide? There was a question like who, if Richie presumably is dropped to the bench, who do you start through the middle? For me, it's Son. Anyone in the box that I want the most forward player being for our attack is Son. He's the most lethal inside, outside the box that we have on the squad. So that's a no-brainer that I want Son through the middle. I think Timo Werner could still be a good guy to get that service into Son because I don't think Richarlison, while sometimes he could show us a better performance as a left winger, I think different games will call for different sauce. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you have a chicken nugget, you want to dip it in a barbecue. You want to dip it in a spicy, a little buffalo. You know what I mean? Different games call for different flavors. And I really think that at the end of the day, having two different kind of left wingers like a Richarlison and Timo Werner could be nothing but a positive because it's two different styles. One's going to be more physical, up in your face. The other one's going to be more pacey, annoying like a little fly. And while they both are not great in the final third in all aspects, I don't need them to be brilliant. I just need them to do enough, like what Timo did for Bentancur's goal. A perfectly weighted pass, not getting too bogged down. And I thought in the second half, like the first half, Diego Dalot had him in his pocket. I thought any chance that, like there were so many chances where you could just run straight. And I think he was afraid of Diego Dalot in some sense, and he wouldn't do that, and he would cut in and look for the different option. But again, that was his first 45 minutes of competitive play in the Premier League since I don't know how long, and he's only played 200-something minutes for Leipzig, so the guy doesn't have a lot of minutes on the boots. So in the moment, I was freaking out. My watch along was probably very cringy because I'm losing my shit at Timo Werner because bro, he's just like, just run straight with the ball, please. Just pick up the ball and run straight. The guy's off to your right. You have nothing but green grass ahead, and when you got green, you got to roam, my friend. And he was reluctant to do that, like you said. So it was really bothering to see that. But in the second half, he actually did kick and run more. He actually did push the ball into those spaces. So it was better to see from that standpoint. I think the halftime talk was crucial.
Just on what you said there about Sonny, Jake. Look, I understand that there's a big push for Son to be moved centrally and be the main man. However, is that best for Tottenham Hotspur overall? I'll argue some games maybe, but the majority of games and the opponents that we're going to face, I'd argue no. Teams that are looking to play football out from the back, that play a high line that you can expose, Son's perfect. You put him through, you know he's going to bang away every single chance. However, there's a lot of games where we come up against teams who sit low against us. They nullify Son because what they're doing is they're putting 2 or 3 defenders back there to bully him, and then they're sitting their midfielders right on top, which means you can't get the ball into Sonny. And there's a lot of games like that where that's happened, where we could not find Sonny. You also go back to the problem. There's only a problem where the biggest problem with Sonny down the middle is against them teams. You have to look to be able to put crosses in the balls, crosses into the box, balls in behind and stuff like that. Players can't find Sonny when he's playing against them teams. Even when they're putting crosses in the box, he's not the guy that's going to go and compete for a header. Richarlison is that guy. And since we put Richarlison down the middle, wingers are now crossing the ball, which they weren't doing when Sonny was down the middle. But my biggest reason for not having Sonny down the middle is because you lose 50% of the player. Son's creativity is more valuable to us than his finishing. That's a good point. And what I mean by that is, well, he drives others on. There's games there so far this season. Middlesbrough, prime example, right? Players didn't know what to do. But anytime we got the ball to Sonny, drove up players, put balls into the box from different angles. And what happened then is other players started following suit. Kulu, Johnson, players like that, they all started following suit. With Son, we have to get over this that we want him just to be that clinical finisher. Son is more than that. Son's creative and a lethal finisher. He's always done it from the left-hand side. He's creative and he scored goals. So why would you move him into the middle just to score goals and take that creativity away? And the only other option is a summer transfer window where you get better wingers that can provide him with ample opportunities. Then you can move Son in the middle. Until we get better wingers, for the benefit of Tottenham Hotspur, he has to stay out on that left-hand side.
Yeah. That's a good point. Now, there is something else I've been seeing making the rounds on social media. It's quite divisive for a lot of people. It's this back three thing with Romero in the central, where he was in Atalanta, Dragusin on the right, and then Van de Ven on the left. and then having Udogie, and basically going with 2 up front. Do you see a world where Son and Richarlison are these dual striker? We have 3 at the back, and we plug the midfield up. What do you think about that whole conversation going on right now?
Look, with the way football's going, eventually, with all these sort of managers and different ideas, tactics is just going to be a base thing to put a team sheet out to tell you who's playing. And players are going to start just to, carrying out the jobs that the manager wants them to do without any sort of defined positions, maybe apart from throughout the spine of your team. Look, I don't think Postecoglou will switch to a back three. He's not a back three sort of guy. I think he'll always sort of stay with the back four. But however, I think going into next season, we'll have a lot more options defensively. I think, you look at Romero. One thing that gets lost because everyone's so focused on analysing his tackling and his aggression is how good that guy is on the football. He is absolutely unbelievable. You go and look at one of the passes he released from the back line straight into centre midfield into a player's feet. That sprung an attack for us. I think we either scored from it or we should have scored. Absolutely unbelievable. It actually could be the one where Skip played that ball onto Timo Werner. But that gets lost with Romero's game when people analyse him, how good he actually is on the ball, how much an asset he is to the system we play. But with Dragusin coming in here, I think Romero's good enough to play right back if you wanted to put him out there, put someone calmer, maybe in at centre back. Dragusin also played right back at points throughout his career, so he can move out there. So eventually what I think you might see. Also, just to add to that, Ashley Phillips has been sent on loan out to Plymouth Argyle. On his debut, got man of the match, and they're absolutely raving about him, by the way. So anyone that told me he wasn't ready for first-team football, you're completely wrong and eating humble pie on that. Because even the guy, when they on Sky Sports Soccer Saturday, when they panned to him and he was discussing the game, he said, he's a superstar. This guy is going to be a superstar. He's absolutely raving about Ashley Phillips, and their manager had a lot of good things to say about him. But he's now developing at a good rate, and hopefully at a good rate between now and the end of the season. He'll come back in here as a third option, ready to go for next season, which allows you to move a Dragusin or Romero to right back, which allows you then to get Porro to forget all his defensive responsibilities, push him further up the pitch, whether you want to push him into the midfield or onto right wing, and just let him go and affect games with that. With the quality he possesses, because he's absolutely unbelievable. So it gives us options. I don't think a back three will be the way to go, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some players with more signings coming in here maybe switch positions.
Very good point. Got a question rolled in from Matt Hayes. Says, David, are we getting a Raduski-Drguski hair prediction series?
First of all,
I don't know what the reference is to, but I think you do. I will say this. Everyone, again, shout out to those of you who were with me the day that Bayern tried to hijack the deal. I said, put the hair in buns. We all put buns. I keep hair ties around now if I need the power of the bun. We collectively put our bun powers together. And I would like to say manifested Dragusin sticking to his word and taking a pay decrease to sign with Tottenham Hotspur. Something I did not expect to happen. But you know what? The power of the man bun seems to reign supreme. What do you think, Dave? You doing a hair prediction series?
Look, first of all, big up to my long-lost brother, Matty Hayes. It's been a while since we've streamed together and stuff like that. If you ever are available, please hit me up. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Now that times are going well, we've had many conversations through bad times. It'd be brilliant to have a good conversation with you about Tottenham.
And the good
absolutely unbelievable. Because, me and Matty spent many hours. Of course, Matty, gave me, a real opportunity in this sort of industry and stuff like that. So I'll always respect Matty for that. But as for the hair prediction, I used to do one with Harry Kane. And the reason why I became famous, if you ask Matty, is because I used to get a lot of it correct. I used to know by how his hair was what sort of Kane you were going to see. Do you know what, Matty? I had a good long look at Dragusin's hair, and I've gone back through all photos and stuff like that. Stay tuned. I think I might bring a Dragusin hair prediction. I might bring the hair prediction back, Matty.
Well, while we're on the subject of hair, I did have Alejandro Garnacho's highlights from yesterday, if you wanted to see him. There he is.
It's actually very similar to Garnacho's hair, isn't it?
That is Garnacho, as far as I'm concerned. As far as the propaganda I'm willing to push, Dave, this is Garnacho. But also, on the subject of Bro, I look, I love this too. Like
celebrity, you know. I wish I could pull it off. Fair play to him. He actually does look like him.
Yeah, I think it's the eyebrows. I think it's because they both shave their eyebrows. I don't know, but hey, fair play to him. Fair play as well. Love this. Love seeing this. This is Radu Draguski's older brother. Very proud moment of him watching his younger brother make his Tottenham Hotspur debut. I absolutely love seeing that. Dave, what do you think we're going to get from this kid? Honestly, I thought, you know, not much really to digest in the sense of like tactically or like what he's really, it was a very short debut, but honestly, he came in, directed traffic, and I said on the watch along, I don't like substitutions during a set piece in our own half because typically that could lead to some kind of miscommunication. But we were awful in set pieces, I thought, for a majority of that match. But Radu Dragusin came in, started directing some traffic. What do you think that this kid could offer us? Where do you see him kind of fitting into us long term? Now, Cuti Romero is, in fact, the most senior center back that we have, and I love that. Wait. Yeah, because Davies is technically a fullback, so I'll take that. Where do you see Radu? I'm going Raduski Draguski with the nickname, but where do you kind of see him fitting in?
Look, first of all, go down to the image. If anyone out here has watched Peaky Blinders, then know exactly what I'm talking about. But he looks like the oldest brother out Peaky Blinders, Radu Dragusin's brother does. Cross references if you want. Type into Peaky Blinders there, Jacob, and you'll spot straight away what I'm talking about, who he looks like. But look, when
What's
it comes
his name
to
from
Radu
Peaky Blinders?
I can't remember the exact name. I think he's like the oldest, the eldest brother. I watched all 6 series. I probably should know his name, but he absolutely looks like him. It's absolutely brilliant. Zapor says the resemblance is uncanny. Just type in Peaky Blinders and you'll spot it straight away. There he is there to the right. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, he looks like him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, his brother.
He does. This one right here. I see it on the...
Oh, it's brilliant. Brilliant. But look, with Radu Dragusin, what do I expect? Look, I haven't seen a great deal of him, but of course, like all great content creators, I did go and do a lot of research and digging up about the guy and everything else. Look, first of all, he's going to be a player that lives like an athlete. Both of his parents represented Romania in their respective sports. So that shows me that he's going to live his life right off the field. He's got the right influences in his life to keep him on the right track. So I'm happy about that, and that's half the battle. Live your life right and gear it towards being a footballer. Also, he's going to be a threat from the area set pieces, which I absolutely love. You know, he'd probably bag us a couple of goals this season. When he does score, I'm going to start calling him Zlatan Draguzovic or something like that because he does.
Yes.
Yeah, on the ball there, Jaco. And then look as well, defensively, he stores a massive issue in regard. We have been shocking, appalling from set pieces and crosses into our box since Jose Mourinho was here. It's been a huge weakness of ours. Even the last few weeks before Christmas, Bournemouth, Everton, just constantly put balls in the box. We could not deal with it. They won nearly every single one. So he'll come in and resolve a problem in that regard when he does play. And I know a lot of people, you know, about his possession, you know, actually know he played in the middle of a back three. His main responsibility isn't really to be on the ball, spraying, passing around, but he can do that. For me, I actually think, and I've said this in my welcome to Tottenham to Radu Dragusin, out of possession with the aggression and the way he likes to get right up behind defenders and dislodge the ball as soon as it's been towards them, he's like Romero. But he also has very similar traits to Van de Ven, how he covers the ground, you know, reads the game, stuff like that. So I'd say he's got the aggression of a great defender like Romero and also the composure of a great defender like Van de Ven.
Yeah, I think his frame was something too as well. Like when he got in there and stood on the line with the rest of the boys, he did not look like a young man. He looked like a fully grown man. And I like this getting I honestly can't wait for him to have his first goal. And we can call him Zlatan Draguskovic or something. Zlatan. I liked what you said better. You said it much more elegantly. I liked it very much.
Radu Draguzovic.
Radu Draguskovic. stay tuned to Irish Hotspur whenever he drops that nickname, because I'm gonna let him do it, because I'm just gonna keep fumbling it. But look, I think a picture speaks 1,000 words. Now the names above their heads is to resemble who in fact they were brought in to replace. So I mean, look, Matt Doherty, Japhet Tanganga, Eric Dyer, Clement Longley, Ivan Perisic. Now, the Ivan Perisic thing, I think, is from a left wingback perspective. He's been replaced with. We did get Udogi when we were playing a wingback system, but we did just happen to loan him back to the club we bought him from. But so ostensibly, I'll accept this Perisic replacement as, because I think for the argument's sake. But look, Matt Doherty, in all intents and purposes, he was replaced by Pedro Porro. Japhet Tanganga, I know we ain't completely got rid of him yet, but Cuti Romero was brought in. Japhet Tanganga was then loaned out. So it seems like a replacement in that sense. Eric Dyer, same thing. Hold that, Bayern Munich, you schnitzel-eating bastards, trying to hijack our deal. You can take an Eric Dyer for your troubles. How about that? And then Clement Longley. Look, a lot of fans were saying, oh, we should get Clement Longley back. He wasn't that bad. And I was one of those that was very mad at the fact that we were even thinking about offering this guy a contract. It's an absolute joke. He's a French Dyer, in my opinion. He's Dyer with a mustache. And I didn't like it. Bring in Mickey Van de Veen and wow, watch a young man thrive.
Do you know what? I'd rather Clement Longley than a Ben Davies. I'll be brutally honest with you. I'd much rather a Clement Longley than a Ben Davies. I think Clement Longley, maybe, there were some games where he made a couple of mistakes, but who didn't in that back line last year? But for the majority of it, he was good on the ball and had some great games defensively. And when we were playing full-back FC, Langley would have made a huge difference. I thought we missed out not bringing him in. I thought we should have, and it was never to bring him in here to start. It was to bring him in here for cover injuries, and everyone said, "No, Dave, we're not." Then we got injuries. What cover did we have?
Yeah,
we didn't.
None. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we got an Arsenal fan in here who's bringing something up here. So we'll digress for you, Scott Nelson. You always come in here and you got something to say. Hopefully you're hitting the like. I'm going to assume you do, because I got nothing but love for every human being on this planet, regardless of the choices you make as a fan. But it says, Jacob, Newcastle home game was the only convincing win you had this season, and you got just a draw at United, with United having more clear chances. So why are you guys celebrating? Dave, do you want to comment on this first before I do?
First of all, I ain't celebrating at all. I was a bit annoyed that we didn't get a result, but with all the circumstances, I take the point and I move on. So to say we're celebrating is way out of context. Newcastle, the only convincing game we've had this season, I disagree. Although it took us, we got a late one against Liverpool. We played them off the park that day. We destroyed Man United earlier on in the season. Let's not forget we went to your place and we should have won. Brennan Johnson had an opportunity that he didn't take, a couple of opportunities, but we played you off the park at your stadium. When was the last time that's happened? Been plenty of convincing performances. Burnley, start of the season, 5-2. There's been a lot of them. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah, good point. All great points there, Dave. I was going to answer this with the video instead, because I think a video will speak 1,000 words. Now, this is me in the watch along. What's that?
It's a disgrace.
Oh, well, you know what? That is a perfect segue to show why
By
I'm
the way, our
celebrating.
manager isn't asking for protection of players either, which I find quite embarrassing.
He's also not opening wide in Dubai for a guy to insert meat, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean,
You need to work on yourself before you go at others, Scott Nelson.
I mean, this is also off the back of the light bulb analogy. This is off the back of bringing out the speakers playing You'll Never Walk Alone, off the back of bottling the league. I mean, look, I'm all for it. I'm enjoying watching circus on the road, But look, I wouldn't be going around, having a pop at other people's managers when you've got that guy in charge. The man's hair who can't be moved, Lego head.
Also, I don't know if you'll bear with me, Scott Nelson. I don't think you were here for this, but I want to share with you. This was my reaction immediately after the game. So if you think I'm celebrating, there's actual video proof that I was not.
brought in
Wow.
VAR. Just
Kind of disappointing. Kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. I wanted all 3 points. Draw is not the worst case. Obviously, you'd rather get a point away from home. I mean, if you think about it, big 6 away from home, we'd be getting points, I guess. Did the I guess at the end really cap off my thoughts? Like, I'm trying to put a positive to it because at the end of the day, I'm not a miserable bastard. So I find ways to. Yeah, I don't see where I'm celebrating. I look pretty not happy with what I saw. And again, if you would ask me how I felt about it, then you would know. He says, big L for you, Jacob, because I'm a United fan. You got to hold that then. Why are you not beating us at home? You have a manager who's been managing this is his second season in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. He's spent 400 million on his players, yet not playing his style. He's playing United's way because of tactics. But you're coming in here. Thank you for clarifying who you're a fan of. Just there's a lot of you that come in here and you got things to say. But obviously the reason why you want to talk to me is because you're a United fan. But look, I will address this because I think it's quite funny. Your guy in charge of your club, not to mention the owners who are allowing your fans to get rainwater on their head because you can't fix a damn stadium leak, let alone if I, as a traveling tourist, can I go there and eat any food? Is it edible? It was the first question I have for you about a traveling fan's experience at Old Trafford. And then secondly, I would also say, like, fix yourself before you start looking at us. You got top 4 and won a trophy last season, but you can't beat Spurs at home. We just got a manager in. He's been here for 7 months, but you can't beat Spurs at home. And then you come to my chat saying, why are we celebrating a draw? We should have won that. You could have won that. That is the difference. We should have won because we were the better team. You could have won because that's just the way the ball rolls sometimes. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Teams get chances. But guess what? Y'all suck, and you couldn't even do that. We are missing how many players, and you couldn't take advantage of us in your own backyard. You are worse than Arsenal, and they are a laughingstock right now. So again, when you come here saying, oh, this about Spurs fan, that about Spurs fans, clearly, like if I would have said 25 years ago, United fans going to be coming into a Tottenham Hotspur chat to banter us, you would say, why is he wasting his time? Why is he lowering himself to that? But guess what? You're here today. And what that tells me is that you were scared. You are concerned. And the state of your club is so abysmal. You'd rather see some happy fans talking about good things about their club, Scott Nelson. So thank you for being here. All right.
Do you know what? I was gonna make that exact same point, Jacob. You know, a couple of years ago, United fans wouldn't even been bothered. You know, they would have been tuning in. What's going on at Man United? But it just goes to show how the mighty have fallen from grace, right? You know, the fact that they're in here. You look, Everton, Burnley, chats there more your level.
Yeah. You know, I think you got to worry about Chelsea. Weren't y'all fighting them in table position this week? The draw keeps your head just above Chelsea, so hold that. You got to worry about them lot, not us. We're in a different conversation. All right, so hold that, Scott Nelson. Dave, I don't know how much longer I have you, but there were a few other things that I wanted to talk about. If you're good to hang out, then yeah. So I saw this rumor. Don't know how much truth there is to it. We've done a few pieces of business already. Obviously, Lloris, Dyer gone. We got Werner and we got Dragusin in. And then I see, one second. Now that made it worse. It says, I saw this morning, Tottenham Hotspur preparing a substantial bid worth around 30 million to sign Wolves midfielder João Gomez. Now, I don't know anything about the Wolves FFP. I haven't been keeping up with their ins and outs per se, but what's a piece of business that you would like to see in this January window, and what do you think about João Gomez? I have really no opinion on the guy.
Look, what I will say, this source is that it does come from a Brazilian sort of source, and I wouldn't say they're the most sort of reliable. I would say if it came from someone that's more sort of close to the Premier League, I'd sort of be more on it. Look, João Gomez, I'll be honest, I haven't really watched much of Wolves this year, Jacob. I don't really have a great insight on the guy. Look, for me, I just think we need someone very similar or can offer us what Papa Massar offers us. I think that's the only option we don't have a backup for in that midfield. In terms of creativity without Maddison, okay, maybe others aren't exactly on Maddison's level, but they have sort of stepped up to the plate and being able to provide a little bit of creativity. But what we do miss is someone that turns over the amount of ball that Papa Matasar does. And I think that's the sort of centre midfielder that we should be looking at in the market.
Yeah, so just a real quick, I like to do a little bit of an amateur scouting report. So João Gomes, Brazilian midfielder, right-footed, 22 years old, 5'9" in size. He wears the number 8. Kind of plays as a central mid and a slash DM. So I guess he's not a I kind of want a Maddison backup. Maybe I'm being a little picky. Maybe Kulusevski's the Maddison backup, and we should just go get another attacker. Maybe that's what we do. But as far as the midfield goes, we need a Højbjerg and a Skip upgrade. We know that. This guy, ball intents and purposes, could and should be that. He's young enough as well to have some more ceiling. But, started 17 of 18 matches for Wolves. An average rating of 6.78 across the Premier League. Now, I guess he played in Brazil before this, and that's it. Yeah. The spaces in which he occupies looks like a box-to-box midfielder. So by all intents and purposes, looks like he would fulfill a job in which we're looking for. What's that?
Could be the new Papa Matasar then, lad, or someone that can come in and offer similar to what he does then.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we need depth. We need growth and players that fit certain profiles. Now, I kind of like whatever we're doing with Johan Lange and Scott Munn, because it's led us to the signings like the aforementioned Ashley Phillips from Blackburn. And we haggled with that deal a little bit, and everyone was saying, why are we getting this guy when we need a lot of what? James Bond, United Spurs, are you coming A-listers after your show? No, I'm not on the A-lister show, James Bond. That he doesn't put Spurs people on there. He said once we win a trophy, he'll get someone on the A-listers. But yeah, João Gomes, like I said, I haven't watched enough of him to really have any formulated opinion. But by all intents and purposes, I never trust what this thing says either. Never trust this, because I remember it said for Davinson Sanchez, no outstanding weaknesses, which was interesting to me. Yeah. I say interesting because I felt like it was but maybe lie is more accurate. Look, I'm going to run through a couple more things. Timo Werner, kind of speaking about his role after the match yesterday, says, I think a lot of people wanted to see me scoring more goals, but at Spurs, with the tactics we have and the way the manager wants me to play, I can bring a lot to the group with my assists, and maybe by not being the main man who scores, to make deep runs and create spaces for others, and like yesterday, to create an assist. And I thought in the second half he did a really good job of creating that space, drifting further out wide, and that allowed that channel for Bentancur to occupy. So for me, Dave, if he could do that, get us an assist every game, every other game, that's going to be 9 assists. That doesn't mean he's enough for me to pick up the option, but that's enough to say this was a good piece of business.
Look, it sounds like to me that POSTECOGLOU has took all sort of, the biggest thing surrounding Werner, will he score your goals? And it sounds like that POSTECOGLOU's took all that pressure off him by what he's sort of relaying here, by what POSTECOGLOU said to him. I think POSTECOGLOU's done that just so that he doesn't feel like he has to come here and hit the ground running, and that hopefully he will score a couple of goals, maybe find that confidence and go and score a load of goals. But let's not delude ourselves. He's here to assist and score goals. He'll have to score goals, To bring in a winger to go, just shirk off scoring goals as a responsibility. It's not what we need. We need wingers and strikers with the way sort of we want to play that can score and assist goals. It's that simple. They have to be able to do both sides. You no longer can have one player that only does one side. It's not good enough. Not on the wings anymore, especially with how advanced they are.
Yeah. It's a good point. James Bond here says, João Gomes would be great beside Basuma, so that maybe he could. That's interesting. I don't know anything about João Gomes personally, but look, Werner, Mud, bro, anyone who was here for the first 45 of my watch along, I was losing it. But then Bruno Fernandes had a shot that was even worse than Timo Werner's skyrocket. So, I think that at least canceled out my. Because if he was the only one kicking it into the top bins, rafters-wise, I would have been a little bit disappointed. And then the second time he had a chance, he went wide of the goal and really missed it there. Look, I never expected him to come in and be lethal in the box. I didn't think that was part of his game at all. But you know what? If he can play a role, we don't need, this is what I said about the signing, we don't need individual brilliance. We just need a guy to supplement what we have in place and to just play his role, do his job and play his role. And if he can do that successfully, then it's a very good piece of business for the immediate future, or for the immediate, not the future, which is kind of where we're at right now, right? Big up Baloo, Rick C. Got over 115 people in the chat right now. Make sure you are hitting a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It absolutely helps. It's free and all that. I don't know how to say your name, but this is a new chatter in the house. Big up says, may all Tottenham FC members, all nationalities, religions join in praying that this team to be successful. Oh, we are. Every night, every morning, we're saying good prayers. Big up Simeon Davis as well. Says, as a Man City fan, I say this: rebuilding processes take time and correct infrastructure. Spurs and United will be back, but Spurs are a bit further down the road. And it's interesting. We're only 7 months into our project, and others will say that we look a little bit further into our, but you know, it's neither here nor there. Look, Timo Werner, I don't know what our expectations should be of the guy, but mine weren't very high. But yesterday he did what I hoped he could do, which is just get a GA. If you could supplement us, again, not individual brilliance. I just need you to do enough. And he did do enough. If he had scored one of those goals, it's probably a lot better. But again, I don't see Timo Werner being our answer long term. I see him as playing a role while Son is not here. And when Son comes back, I don't know that he starts. I think he becomes a super sub at that point. And I guess use the term super loosely. But you know what? Again, my expectations are high. Do you have really any like big hopes that Timo can work out here? And also here's just a representation of Richarlison's prowess.
I have hopes that every signing we make works out here, but the reality is it's football and they just don't. Look, with Werner, I think it's very naive to think if he doesn't have to score a couple of goals. I think he does, definitely. Because if not, then you know that's why some fans have been very unhappy with the signing, and you can sort of understand, right? Because you know we're at a point now where you know you bring in the right sort of player who's right for a system that consists and score goals. You take yourself onto another level. You put yourself in a title challenge. So for me, I think it just highlights even more how much of a risk it is then in that regard. Yeah. Look, I want Werner to work out. I'd love him to work out. You know, I liked him at Leipzig when he was bringing in all the goals. Lost a lot of respect when he moved to Chelsea. Could have went to Liverpool, ended up at Chelsea. Took the money over ambition. And you know, he's sort of what would you say?
He would have won a league. He would have won a league.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You know, I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that Liverpool thing, Dave. Very good remembering there. Look, there's not much else I wanted to talk about. Also, there was a link per Alistair Gold about us showing interest in Norwich's talented winger, Jonathan Rowe. Honestly, I haven't watched any Norwich this year, so I don't have any opinions on the guy. Have you ever heard of this guy? Do you know who this is?
No, not really. I haven't really done too much digging into him. I will, though, because I'm going to do a transfer sort of stream tomorrow, so I'll have a bit of information on the guy. One thing I will say, though, is, you know, for quite a number of years now, Norwich have always had sort of excellent players. They had Maddison for a period of time. Let's not forget that. You know, we were chasing him since he was at sort of Norwich. You know, they produced a couple of Irish kids like Adam Eden and stuff like that. They've had some very good sort of young talents at their club. So, you know, it is a club sort of worth monitoring over the course of the season, because one thing they do get right is whether they loan players in, producing them themselves, or buy them and bring them in for a temporary period. They never really miss on some of their young signs that they do make.
That's a very good point. Excuse me. Sorry, I am adding the Irish Hotspur to the title of this video.
I do not need to do that. You're all right.
No,
appreciate that.
You're here, man. Obviously, I'm absolutely going to put you in the title, my friend. Make it easy for those of you that haven't subscribed to the Irish Hotspur already. Make sure you go and do that. He's giving us his generous time, and obviously that way you can catch this transfer rumor show that he's alluding to as well. He dropped a new video today that's on my queue, my YouTube queue. I don't know if anyone does queues, but I do a YouTube queue, and it's in my queue.
Yeah. I know, actually, yeah.
The lone player video you did. You're starting a new series, checking in with our lone players. And you know what? I like to touch on our lone players as well and say like what they've been up to, you know. Javin Tanganga, not much, but hey, maybe soon. But look, y'all, that is going to do it for the show. I don't have too much more to talk about. And in the sanctity of time, we are over an hour and 40 minutes. So I am going to end it there and take a little break before I am on Staffy TV later tonight. We're going to be doing American Waffle, which is where you will find the most shameless version of me attacking absolutely anyone and everyone I can get my hands on. So if you want to be, if you want to hang out with us there, you can do that. Real quick, want to know news about James Madison. Do you have any news on James Madison, Dave? Allegedly could be fit for City. He traveled with us, but then was not in the squad. And allegedly, not allegedly, but what you told me was that he picked up the same illness, right? That Kulusevski got?
I seen rumors that, or I heard rumors that he was supposed to be in the squad. But apparently illness, sort of took him away from the squad. But from reports that we're seeing that are out there, it looks like he will be back from Man City and he will play some part.
Well, I would absolutely love to see him play for us versus Manchester City because I think we'll need every bit of help we're going to get because KDB came back and he's already on fire. He's already putting in work. Scary guy there. There's the link. Make it real easy. There's the link. It's also in the title. It's in the description. There's 3 places to find the Irish Hotspurs channel link. So make sure you are subscribed there. Big up Dermot as well with THFC Till I Die. Mark Cook. Big up Mark Cook says, great show, lads. Side Dancer says, big up everyone. Look, I do appreciate everyone who has been here. Make sure you have hit a like if you haven't already. If you don't, then whatever. It's all up to you. You're allowed to do whatever you want. But look, Dave, my final thing I want to ask you, yesterday's man of the match and who goes home with the exclusive BDE of the match, patent pending. Wait, copyright pending, I should say.
My man of the match is Richarlison, lad. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. You know, it's his best performance in the Spurs jersey. And it's from an all-round perspective. He got one opportunity. He scored from it, which is absolutely clinical, which people accuse him not of being. So, you know, you got to give him credit for that. But it was his all-round game, Jacob, the hold-up play, you know. When the ball went to Burner and especially Johnson, I felt like they were very quick to take it off them and send it back. Anytime Richarlison got hold of it, he held it up, played with us in, got us up the pitch. He ran the channels, ran the line, winning corners and throw-ins, you know, making a nuisance of himself, constantly pressing that back line. But not only that, then he was back in our own box defending set pieces and made a couple of brilliant challenges on the edge of the box as well. His all-round game yesterday was absolutely superb. And if he can find that more, he'll do just fine between now and the end of the season. So he'd be my man of the match. I thought he was superb. I think he deserves recognition for that. Sorry, everyone. I have a bit of a chest infection. But in terms of BD, I'm going to go Bentancur, Jacob. You know, this guy has come back. He's fought back twice from injuries. You know, he's come back early for the cause, which I absolutely love and I absolutely admire. And POSTECOGLOU sort of alluded to that with one of the quotes that you brought up earlier on about players, you know, dying for the cause and that. But he had a massive job on his hands yesterday. He had to make up for Skips and Højbjerg's shortcomings at times during periods of that game. And he done absolutely brilliant. You know, he sort of had to do everything. He had to defend. He had to be the guy that picked up the ball off the back line to progress it. He also had to try and hook it at times, turn it over. He also had to go up the other end and score the equalizer as well. So for me, I look at him, I'm going to give him the big dick energy, lad, because that's what big dick energy does. If you've got other people around that are maybe weaker than you, you don't make excuses and pin whatever happens on them. You show them why you're the best and why everyone needs to get to your level, and that's exactly what he done. So that's big dick energy right there.
Yeah, I love that. That's exactly what exemplifies the award, you know. And I like that you touched on a few points that we actually didn't talk about, which was Bentancur in that midfield. He picked up the slack for Skip and Højbjerg's defensive shortcomings and as well as the creative shortcomings. Absolutely great on the day. He's going to get my man of the match, Bentancur. I just think the goal with the left foot absolutely capped off what I thought was probably one of his best games back from injury so far. And I just hope he continues to play like that and continues to improve. And once we start getting some of those pieces back, he's not going to be the guy doing it all anymore. He's just going to need to be the guy supplementing it. And once we get there, I think it'll be a beautiful sight. But he's going to get my man of the match. My BDE is going to Pedro Porro, because I thought in the first half, when we looked uncreative and unwilling to drive with the ball at our feet, he was the guy who said, I'll do that. I'll pick the ball up at the halfway line and just push, because they're not marking us in the midfield. And so I thought Pedro Porro was doing a pretty good job in that aspect, and I thought offensively he offered us the most. So I want to give it to him, as well, because I thought defensively he could have been more porous than he was, and I'll take it. Let's just keep getting better. He could have won us the game there too at the end almost, but
yeah,
it is what it is. But look, Dave, I do want to say thank you again so much for joining the show today. It's absolutely such a blessing whenever you bless the channel and the show with your presence. I also want to say thank you to Rowan Kumar picking up their membership, and then big up as well, double time for Chang for gifting 5 memberships to United Spurs of America, as well as a super chat. I do appreciate the financial donations. Again, hitting a like, hitting a subscribe is absolutely free. Another thing that is free, another way you can help this channel and Irish Hotspur, is you just share the video. Share it with your mother, your brother, your cousin, your sister, your auntie, your uncle, neighbor, nephew, niece, nurse, dentist, postman, milkman, whoever. Just share the video. Costs you nothing, and does wonders for the algorithm. So we're always here battling the algorithm. Anything we can do in the fight for justice, we will do it. But look, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit of something. We'll figure it out as we go. It is 11 days until Tottenham play next, so we'll find a way to fill the air. And again, be on the lookout for the community page. I'm going to communicate and try and figure out that members show, and we'll get that sorted for either this week or the next week. But nonetheless, everybody, I need you to do a couple simple things. That is, stay blessed. Number 1, stay fresh. I need you to up the lads, and come on, you Spurs. Kuss.
United Spurs of America, with your hosts, Michael and Jacob.